morning, everybody. Welcome to, what is this, class 5, I think. Boy, I should probably figure that out, but I think it's class 5 out of 7. Our final week of focusing on water. We are going to be looking at waves, or kind of like really action water with a lot more form to it, and rocks. And then for next week's class, or next week's 2 classes, we'll be kind of slowing it down and working on one more complete finished painting. And that painting is going to be up to you, out of all of the different things, clouds, trees, water, or a combination thereof, what you would like to do for your final painting. I found that in teaching this long, that by not teaching new things all the way to the very end, but by giving you guys a couple weeks to actually take the information, digest it, ask questions, and see if you're really retaining the information that you need, or asking questions that maybe I forgot to address, is a great way to do it. Plus, I think everybody likes going out with kind of nice, big, more finished off painting versus all these little sketches that we've been doing. So for your homework this week, it will be an ocean painting. It's completely up to you if you want to use the reference that I provided, which is a black and white and is truly just a combination of 3 different photos. That's why it's a black and white, because I tried fixing the colors to make all the photos go together. And once you start to study it, you're going to probably see that the lighting is not fully consistent in it, that the waves, the light is slightly different on a slightly brighter day than is happening in the rocks. And then the clouds, I tried brightening them up, but they're still quite dark. So anyways, there's a lot of room in the reference for you to interpret it and change it and make whatever colors you want. What I will probably do is grab a couple color references of whatever scenes that I like. If I decide I want to do blue grays with a gold combination, or purples and pinks, or whatever else, I will often take a black and white photo, use that for my reference for my design and composition, and then grab completely other paintings, even looking through art books, or I've recently been grabbing a lot of ceramic posts. For some reason, I've always liked the colors that are used in earthy ceramics. So I may even reference some of that. I've also recently grabbed a whole bunch of rugs that recently came out from, I can't remember the name of the company. But they're just beautiful color combinations that I wouldn't quite think of. So I have those retained on my Pinterest page under color inspiration. If you guys are not on Pinterest, I know it's not quite as popular, or I don't hear about it as much as I used to, but Pinterest is a fantastic spot for grabbing references offline that you like and just putting them into different folders. So would you guys like to see my Pinterest page real quick, kind of how I set it up? And if you want, you can just—
Sure. And did you put the link in the Facebook?
Yes.
Have it, but I'll put it into it's just pinterest.com, Michael Orwick, I believe.
Okay.
I'm going to the— yeah, I'm not able to see it because it's showing mine. Does somebody want to try plugging into that? Pinterest.com, Michael Orwick, or // Michael Orwick. All right. So here we go. This is my Pinterest page. This is kind of what pops up when I come in. I do have a business page. If you see up in the top left, I can do business, hub, or home feed. So home feed is where it kind of selects images, and you can see all these different rugs. It's like, oh, Mike's shopping for rugs, evidently, and little does it know I'm just stealing color ideas. And it's saying, you know, these are pictures that we think Michael or my daughter, because my daughter also uses my Pinterest a lot. So oftentimes there'll be just a bunch of things that she might be using as references as well. But recently it looks like it's all mine. So yeah, these carpets. Anyways, you can see lots of landscape pictures, different things like that. So yeah, that's just what it's suggesting I look at. How do I get to my categories? Let's see. No, not that one.
My browser tells me I need to log into Pinterest, and I cannot be bothered to look up my login now.
So here's all the pins I've been doing, but I'm not sure where all my categories are all of a sudden. It looks like it's kind of a different appearance created. Normally it shows me my different categories down below. So it's a different appearance. I haven't been using it in a normal way lately. So
maybe because you're not logged in as you, so it doesn't know it.
You're right. Could be. Oh, maybe it's under saved. I bet you there it is. Okay. So under saved. So if you go to my Michael Orwick Arts or whatever it is, I'll try and figure that out, how to share it. And once I do, I'll share it. But anyways, you can see like we were planning a trip to Croatia back in 2013. So there's still pictures there. We never quite made it, but that's all right. But anyways, you can go to all pins and there's 7,893 pins. A pin is simply, if you imagine like a gigantic pin board, and you can put like, ideas that you have, thoughts, things that are interesting to you. So that's all of them. But what I've done then, like abstract landscapes, which I have as a private, other people can't see it. Let's go to abstract paintings. I've got 362 of them. So out of those 7,000 pins, 360 of those are abstract. So what I picture this as a whole big folder, right? Just like you would have on your laptop or in a physical folder. I was really into the idea of the circles, the Zen circles. My daughter and I did a number of abstract paintings together, and we call ourselves O2 for two Orwicks. And so we kind of thought, obviously we could put some O's and circles and stuff into our paintings. And then again, you see just different color references and different things that are exciting to me about abstract, because I don't really love abstract work as a general rule, but I'm learning. Maybe you could say I'm maturing. It depends on your opinion on abstract paintings. Maybe I'm de-evolving as well. But anyways, so there's that. Let's see if I go back, if it goes. But anyways, if you just scroll through, you can see all sorts of different ways that I've broken up. Like here's just one of my favorite artists, Bato, black and white art, black and white. Like this one, I grabbed, my daughter and I started making this just for simply figuring out movement and just different flows. When we talk about elegant lines, right? I was just curious about that and looking at old advertising and how they use the concept of just elegant line and movement. And how could I look at something like this and bring that into landscape, right? Or abstract. And so it's fun to just kind of go, oops, I went all the way back. It's fun to go down just these rabbit holes and kind of think up different ideas. And then you create these, man, I really don't, there we go. Yeah, I shouldn't have set up a business page because I never use it as a business. I don't advertise on it or do anything else. But there's like a whole Claude Monet with 99 pins. Remember Chester Berry, one of the really dramatic artists we've been looking at. All sorts of different things. Jill Carver. Yeah, here's some, like my daughter was really into making masks for a little while. Art books, anything and everything. So sometimes when I'm kind of in a bit of a, like, I can't quite figure out what to do next, or like, let's say today I've got my design and my structure, but I don't have the colors picked out. So let's see, I'm not sure why it's not in alphabetical order. There we go, color inspiration. So I've got 286 that are just color inspiration. So, why did I grab these pictures? Because of their color, more importantly than their subject. So I could look at this and say, you know what, would this work for an ocean picture? Would this one work for an ocean picture? Something interesting, like maybe what if I did some kind of an interesting palette like this, brought in a beautiful earthy reds, dark blues, and kind of a creamy white, maybe little bits of orange. Could that work? That'd be really interesting, right? Kind of out of the ordinary. Or I could go more straightforward and look for some kind of bluey gray references. But you can see anything that grabs my interest. Some of them are literally just, Home Depot color charts. Some of them lots and lots of rugs. But like this would work really well for today, right? That just speaks to the cool Oregon coast to me, these colors, these beautiful grays. Go ahead.
And when you pick this, when you decide which palette you want to use, you're still going to do that with your split primaries. You're not going to get a special color out of it.
Generally not. Yeah, generally not. In fact, often what I might do is get rid of a couple colors more than adding colors. But like I might, if I was doing this, maybe I'd say, you know what, I can make all those colors with just Payne's gray and get rid of the blue. So they're all lean towards gray a little quicker and a little more automatically. And I don't have the option to get very vibrant with my blues. Or maybe I just use you just use like an ultramarine blue and not use the quinacridone. I mean the manganese blue, something like that. But yeah, so and then what's kind of nice is if I selected that and it's close, it's also beneath it recommends a whole bunch of things. Well, if you like that, you may like these. So then I can quickly scroll through that. Like this one's kind of interesting, a little darker. Yeah, but anyways, that's kind of just different ways that I will approach painting from time to time. And just kind of see, sometimes I might just, let's kind of almost do like a game where I choose something totally off the wall that doesn't go together, like with this scene. Like what if I forced myself to do today's scene with these colors, right? That'd be really interesting, a tough challenge, but it might be a lot of fun. And also, it's nice to sometimes think a little bit like an interior decorator, or, a lot of times my colors, especially when I'm doing my earthy kind of warm tonalist paintings, I can kind of get in a rut where all of a sudden it's nice to kind of force myself to look somewhere else and get different ideas. Like this could be gorgeous for today's painting. I think just these beautiful subtle grays. Yeah, any comments or ideas on that? Is that kind of what you guys do sometimes, where you're just kind of picking your design and pick your colors, pick from different areas?
No, you're scaring
I've done it, but I sure like it.
What was the first one? Sorry.
I said, you're scaring me. No, I'm teasing.
Oh, it's good to be scared a little bit, right? But no, I understand completely. But I think today we'll treat it a little more straightforward. But God, I sure love these colors.
Go for it.
Huh?
Go for it.
So if I click on that, it'll take me to Etsy. I'm going to try printing it. Let's see what happens if I print it. I don't know if it'll let me. Otherwise, I'll just leave it up on the computer screen when we're painting, maybe.
Mhm.
All right, let's go back to our, going to black and white for some reason. Anyways, get out of here. Let's get out of here. So that's something that I do sometimes to challenge myself to open up. And so I'm not getting too redundant, I hope, with my colors and ideas. And so what I would do if I do like this is I would go up to here, and it has a list of all of the different categories I've made over time. I want it under color, which it should be there. And then I would just push save, and now it's saved into that folder. So it's that easy. So anyways, a great place if you have many extra hours in your day to go get lost and really kind of wonder what happened to your day. But it's also fun just to see, just to tap in and say, what does it think I would be interested in today? This color scheme would be perfect for today's painting too. Megan,
Ooh, I like that. I like
isn't that
that.
beautiful? Yeah, maybe I'll keep that one open, or let's go save hers. Or something like this. So yeah, it's very nice, just fun and interesting to just go through and look at. So maybe we're kind of leaning towards the bluey or grays with a little splash of color and light. I think maybe really nice. You guys feeling that? A little bit more
Yeah.
blue gray?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool, we'll do that.
Especially the last two you just showed, they're very, very low key palettes, but they still glow, and that's a mystery to me. I mean, when I try to do that, I just get a muddy painting, but somehow this one and the one you showed before.
Okay, good. We'll use that then. We'll use those. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll make a hopefully, I should never curse it. I was going to say make it a successful painting, but I think it's very relatable. It'll feel very much like Oregon. We've all been out there when it's cool but beautiful, a little bit stormy, a little bit cloudy, but still Oregon coast is almost always just a nice place to be. All right, I'm gonna do stop share and bring us back to our Facebook page. Okay, does everybody see the Facebook page now?
Almost.
Yeah,
Laura's painting.
that was from last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna scroll up. I just went through and I was talking with Linda before class about her really beautiful painting that she turned into the Oregon Society of Arts, or the Oregon School of Art, whatever we call it these days, their show. So I really appreciate Linda turning it in and presenting well for us. So that is nice. What a beautiful painting you did there. Oh, and they even put it up on the site, and if you're smart, you'll buy it.
Nice.
Right, Linda? A beautiful painting. And I was telling her what I really liked about it was that it's dramatic and exciting, but it's not over, it's not really hitting you in the face. It's got a subtlety and a calm to it, and it feels very grounded, realistic. And then what Linda was pointing out to me was her repetition of lines and forms throughout, with the water, with the sand, and with the clouds. And that really does kind of bring the painting together really nicely, and really makes and helps it to relate. So yeah, Linda, are you there? Yep, I see you.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Tell us a tiny bit about this painting real quick.
Well, this is a painting of a Parisian beach in Queensland, and it was in the winter, so it was pretty empty, although the temperatures were, mid 70s, so very pleasant. But it was, I basically made up the sky from taking Michael's previous classes. I had done 2 different versions of this painting. The first one was small and this one is big. And I changed the composition based on his feedback about design, so that that receding point, was in a different place in the prior painting, and the sky was much different. So basically just tried to take what I learned in your previous classes, Michael, and integrate them into this painting.
I really appreciate it. I was hoping to be able to zoom into it, but I love it. And you said it's from Queensland. Is that Australia?
Yeah, that's Australia. It's
on Byron Bay.
Yeah, it's in the eastern coast, basically east of Brisbane, right near Noosa, which is a more famous beach. Noosa's a little further north, but the beaches in Australia just stretch forever. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I think I used to live on that hill.
Lovely.
Yeah, I used to live on Manly Beach.
Oh, Manly Beach is gorgeous. Yeah, this is further north.
Okay.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it looks really secluded, but behind the beach, to the right, there's a series of, condos and houses and things, but they've kept the beach very natural and like a park.
It's nice. Yeah, not the case. Yeah, that's great. This is a beautiful painting. Like I said, and I love your use of grays. I mean, there's like cool grays, warm grays, greenish yellow, bluey grays, purpley grays. I mean, and by keeping your values fairly tight, meaning that it's not like darks and lights all over the place, you were able to use a number of different temperatures and colors all within each other without it feeling too broken up or garish or anything like that. So that's why I'm one of the reasons I really like to focus on the values, the lights and the darks, so that I can focus on when I get to the colors and temperature shifts, I can keep them tighter and within a certain family. So again, I know I talk about Monet pretty much every class, but Monet is considered much more of a colorist, of course. But that's what he's doing. He's within a certain value area. He's able to put a whole lot of different colors and temperatures side by side without them breaking apart into 1,000 little, paint stroke pieces, because they're held together by the lights and the darks. A lot of times, if you take, again, black and white photo of Monet's paintings, a lot of things that are in there, a lot of the subjects or objects will kind of disappear because they're being described purely by color shifts versus so much value shifts. But anyways, very nicely done. I really appreciate your sharing with it, sharing it with us. And congratulations on a beautiful piece. All right, just quickly scrolling up. Fred, did we talk about your trees last week at all?
We didn't talk about that one. We talked about a green tree that I had done.
Great. I'm just going to quickly go through a couple here. Let's see. There it is. So yeah, I read your nice comment that you and your wife were on a walk and kind of got stopped in your tracks by the trees catching on fire. Just kidding. By appearing like they were on fire. And they really do look like they're on fire. Yeah, very nice. Tell us a little bit about it here.
Well, it was a cloudy day and I really didn't expect to see what we saw. And these just jumped out at us and went, wow. And we hung around there for a while and walked around, and I grabbed my iPhone and started taking pictures from different perspectives, and I just picked one, and I thought I would try to capture the fire. So
very nice. Yeah. And it is interesting, right? When you use a kind of a gray overcast day, how splashes of color become all the more vibrant and interesting and exciting to us. So nicely done, keeping a lot of that feeling of an overcast, again, Pacific Northwest kind of day, and then inviting in these little splashes of color. What did you learn by trying to do that, by having something really dramatic in a very kind of subdued color scheme?
Well, I was trying to keep, because I tend to separate the values too much. And so I was trying to keep that compact to try to solidify the form. I'm still concentrating and working on that. And the other thing was a comment that you've been making about solvents and how, because normally I would wash a painting with a solvent, to cover it and block it all out and everything. And you're saying how slippery that is. So I've been trying without that and noticing the difference it makes when you start layering paints. So I found that incredibly useful.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I will still often, tint my canvas, but I definitely go back, if I do use some paint thinner or some Gamsol or whatever to add slickness to the paint and to push the paint further, right? I want that kind of transparent initial wash. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I will do that, but I'm very cognizant of the fact that I'm going to go back with my paper towel and kind of pat that away or kind of wipe it back away to soak up a lot of that Gamsol and leave a little bit of that color behind. Otherwise, yeah, a lot of students will kind of go in, they'll see me, covering my canvas with paint and paint thinner, and then they just go directly on top, and it's just too slick, too slippery. Even though the Gamsol will evaporate out quickly, it's not fast enough generally. So yeah, I'll even do that today. I think for today's painting, I'll kind of show my most generic painting approach, I guess, the most straightforward painting approach that I would use often, plein air painting or in the studio. So I'll tint a white canvas. I will draw and I will kind of wipe away, be kind of a combination of all the different techniques I use. And I'll be using the split primary palette. So I'll talk my way through that, but I very much appreciate that you notice that. And I think that that's really important because we get stuck in certain ways of working, right?
Mhm.
And with, just kind of going, well, this is my way. But I think that's why I like to keep experimenting, because you're always kind of testing to see, well, what if? And by doing that, you might find ways that work a little better towards the effects you're trying to create, or a little faster. If you find yourself to be more of an alla prima painter, it's, I've got some students that will go back to a painting 100 times. And some of my students are like, I can never go back to a painting. It's got to be one sitting or it's nothing. And I understand that, just kind of our different brains and our different attentions and our, different amounts of time we have to apply to our studio and our work. So anyways, yeah, great. Let's quickly go. Very nice. It's a nice color combination. I might even subdue some of your yellow ochres and even some of the greens just to make the reds more special. Yeah, kind of gray those down even a little more, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because you see, look how bright your green is and these yellow ochres down here, and then look at the reference. Much more subtle. I mean, of course, your red is more subtle too. And I know you're trying to capture kind of how did it feel versus how does the camera see it? How did you see it? How did it feel to you when you and your wife were walking and got stopped in your tracks versus, again, how does the camera see it? But
The camera always likes to bring up distant things as if they're right in the foreground.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. It makes the darks
That's
darker and
the
everything.
job of showing that those trees are distant.
All right, Linda, I'm going to quickly go through this. Nice job. Great breaking up of shapes and nice kind of hard lines, soft edges, different things like that. My very quick critique, the first thing I see is this tangent where it looks like the bank of the water and the bottom of this branch. Are you there, Linda? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing you.
Yes, I am.
The bottom of the branch seem to actually care about each other, right? If I put my hand up and cover the right side of the tree, it looks like the left side of the tree where that branch in the bank, it looks like they care about each other. It looks like it's literally resting on the bank there. So that's just called a tangent. All of the bottom of that branch wants to line up. So just breaking that plane, and believe me, I do it all the time. All the time. I do it in my clouds. I do it with everything in my paintings. It's just, but we have to remember that bank is far back there. And this tree is up in the, close to us, and they don't even barely care that the other one exists. Right. So we want to do just like you did on the right side and have it breaking that plane and coming down. Nice job. Yeah. What do you have to say for yourself now? What do you want to say about this painting?
Well, it was a quick study. I really didn't spend a lot of time on the total landscape.
Great.
But I wanted to try to paint the tree because it was such an interesting shape.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem was that the iPhone picture, the tree was very black. So the whole tree was black. So I had to try to make up the fact that the sun was to the right and up high, and try to give the right side of the tree a little more green, a lighter green look than the left side of the tree. And so that was challenging, but I think it came out okay.
No, it really did. It's really nice. I mean, it very much obviously is some kind of needly evergreen tree, and it has very organic, loose feel. It doesn't feel fussed over or overly detailed. It's really very nice. I appreciate the painting very much. All right. And Fred, you were a busy boy this week.
Well, that one was actually done a couple of months ago
Okay.
in a Procreate class.
Oh, so
That's a photo.
And this is a digital. Oh, I see it now.
That's my rendering, or I painted it on my iPad.
With the Procreate.
Procreate is a well, you can photo edit on it. You can compose on it. You can paint watercolors, oil paints. You can draw on it. They got just about any type of drawing or composing instrument that you can think of. And then so I just used a flat oil painting brush, and you can select the size and the opacity and stuff like that. And then I just started trying to recreate that picture because I really liked all the stuff that was going on in the water. I was trying, when I was at Salmon Creek and these ducks started flying away from the bank, I was trying to actually freeze the action of the ducks, and I didn't quite match their speed, but it was close, and everything else was blurred, and I just liked the effect, so I was playing with it. There's the photo, and I wanted to have a really crisp, clear, concise duck, and then everything else had been blurry, but didn't quite get
But
there.
is there a monthly charge for Procreate?
No,
One-time fee.
I think it's like
One-time fee?
$9.90. I think it's $9.99 or something like that. It is, to me, it's an incredible. You can use it for composition. You can use it for, like you can import a painting that you're doing, and if you want to change some of the colors, you don't hurt the painting at all. You can
Oh,
change
yeah.
colors and change moods, and it does all sorts of
It's very
cool
interesting.
stuff.
But they do not have Procreate for the computer.
Right, it's a iPhone type thing.
Yeah, it's smartphone, iPad. Yeah, it's amazing. My daughter uses it quite a lot, and I've watched a number of videos. And then David Sharp, one of the artists that I've brought up a couple of times in this class, he uses it a lot. In fact, he was in the hospital, I think, for cancer a number of times, and he was still posting things he was doing on his Procreate in the hospital bed. And it's an amazing tool. And yeah, there's tons of videos on YouTube of people using it. I just downloaded it to my iPad, but I haven't. Well, for one, my daughter always has my iPad, but for two, I've not used it yet. But yeah, the thing that is most exciting to me so far would be the photo editing, which you guys see me doing on Photoshop, and then I also do on my iPhone in a different app. But also what Fred just talked about is taking photos of your painting and then being able to paint right over the top. So if you kind of get to an area where you're like, man, should the sky be gray and hazy or sunny and bright, or, do I want a pink slash of color here or a yellow one? You can really experiment with that. Again, David Sharp, if you're on Instagram, has a whole bunch of references, or not references, but examples of like 10 different iterations he'll do of a very simplistic scene just to decide which one to do before he goes and paints. So he'll do these kind of very basic, but kind of strangely beautiful little scenes. And every time he goes, and now I thought about this, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. And then, or what if I did this? Oh, that's beautiful. And then he finally gets to the 10th iteration, and you're like, yeah, that's really neat. And he, how he's going through, because for him, simplicity is the key. He likes 2 to 3 values. He likes a simple color palette. Anyways, yeah, Procreate, wonderful tool. I've not quite figured out how to do it for classes, just because it doesn't have a computer version yet. And I don't know why they don't. Maybe Photoshop's paying them to stay off the computer. I don't know.
Here's one I hated.
Was that a blue and a dog there? Can you hold it up?
Oh,
just a
it's a
touch?
dog that didn't turn out, so it's blue over the top. And
Oh.
that's the only thing I've ever done on Procreate, and I'm curious about it.
Yeah. So anyways, there's something for you guys to investigate. Again, throw that into all your extra hours in the day. What do you got, Michelle?
I was just going to ask Fred if he would consider using that as a template to then try to paint that on a canvas. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I would. You learn a lot about, where the colors are on the color wheel, and it's much easier creating colors in Procreate than it is off your palette, but you can see where they tend, whether they're warm or cool, or what colors are you're going to be using to mix them. So I find it very useful, and I would paint. I'd try. In fact, I probably will try to paint a larger version of that just to see if I can do it. I don't know that I could, but I'd give it a shot.
I bet you can. I'm going to bring it into Photoshop real quick. All right. So
Is there an Android version of Procreate?
I believe there is, but I'm not positive. Fred, do you know?
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
All right, so I got Mr. Duck over here on the Photoshop. Yeah, so I can take very quickly. I'm just going to use the simplest of tools, and I'm going to make an outline around the duck.
Oh,
Oh no,
Uh-oh.
I went too far, one step too far. There we go. Okay, got it back. So I can do select, and I'm going to sharpen him.
Oh,
Select filter, sharpen. Where's sharpen? There it is. All right, so I made him a little crisper, and then I'm going to select inverse, which will select everything but duck.
uh-huh.
And then I can go to filter, and I'm not exactly sure. Again, I haven't played with the Procreate to see all the other. I want a motion blur.
Oh, they definitely have all of that stuff. I've been taking this class with Elaine Posky out of OSA. She teaches this. There is so much stuff in there that it's amazing.
So I can select my angle by just kind of switching this little wheel here, so I can make it, motioning up and down. But I know that
Wow.
the duck's flying sideways, so I want to add my motion that way. And then I can add the distance of the pixel. So if I did it 1, that would be kind of where you have it right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go to 30 and make it really blurry.
Wow.
oh,
Oh, that's 130. Okay, so that's a lot, but you can really see that motion there.
Wow.
now can you move that bird to the rock behind?
The rock.
Well,
That's a bird.
I'm seeing a rock and ocean.
Oh,
The
you
black
are.
and white.
It's a lake, and then that's shrubbery there, and it's.
But she's talking about the image that's
Oh,
behind.
move the duck over to this painting.
Yeah.
Let's have it. Okay, so I need to go back to select. Well, first I'm just going to say, yeah, but I just wanted to show you the motion blur over here.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's nice. You could, I can do so much or just a little bit. Let's go to 40. There we go. So it retains it. So I'm just going to say okay to that. And I want to go back to select inverse again because I just want duck. Now I'm going to do Control C, which is copy. I've taken duck.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Totally.
Too wonderful.
Oh my gosh,
First, do a puffin real quick.
Oh, how hysterical.
wrong species.
Does
There we
Procreate have a tool
So
to
make the
create?
so I can make the background motion blur there. So we got duck in motion. And I can also come through and clean up by, oh, nope, that on the background layer.
Yeah, and it does this. Procreate does a lot of the same things that you're doing, because you create layers and then.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah. And I can't quite, I know I'm being a cheapskate, but I can't bring myself to spend the $30 or whatever it is a month for Photoshop yet.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I keep waiting until my daughter actually needs it for school or whatever, or the school pays for it, I guess. I don't know.
How old is she?
She will be 18 in August.
All
so
right, she
graduating
needs it.
high school. So when she gets into college here.
Oh
and
my gosh.
those classes. But anyways, there's duck in motion. We should probably move the duck.
Put him back.
Well, no, just so that he's over something dark so we can see him.
Oh,
Yeah, lots of fun. We could
that tickles.
Oh my gosh, they're
The
migrating.
herd.
They're migrating.
Oh, too wonderful.
Oh dear. Wrong species, wrong place.
anyways, there we go. Let's go back to
Love it.
Pretty good.
yeah, motion blur is good. All right, great. Let's go back to stop share here and let's go back to Photoshop. I mean, to Facebook. All right, everybody seeing Facebook again with this? Oh, maybe you're not.
That's what I was seeing.
You are seeing Facebook now?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm seeing the ducks still.
Okay. And let's go back to here. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about Barbara. Are you here, Barbara?
Am.
Painting.
Okay. I was gonna say, wow, you already got it framed, but this is done previous to
No.
great. Let's go ahead and grab
Yeah.
that. Do the same thing. So I got this. Barbara. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pull it over to Photoshop and let's kind of walk and talk our way through this. So Barbara's asking for a little bit of feedback. This is a painting that's nice and dry because it's how long's COVID been with us? 2 years, 3 years now. So it's a pre-COVID painting.
Yeah.
So if I just bring up Photoshop, do you guys see that or you guys still see Facebook?
We see.
We
the
see
duck.
Photoshop.
Oh, great.
Quack, quack.
I see ducks.
That's what I want. I don't know what happened. Why did it not just open? There we go. All right. Use it on screen. I'm going to go ahead and crop this real quickly so we get it straightened out here.
Yeah, I'm not a
I'm
very
going to
good
do control.
photographer.
I'm going to do a transform that will straighten the layers or straighten it out a little bit. Which one do I want? Let's just do. A lot of times what I'll do is just make a little guideline for myself to get some straight lines. And then I can manipulate it a little bit just to straighten it out. Again, this is old Photoshop here, very old comparatively, but it's still doing what I need. So I've all right,
Clever.
so pretty good there. Do that, and then I'm just going to cut out the picture. Sorry, beautiful little frame. All right, so there we go. Now we're dealing with a straight picture. I can kind of tell because my horizon line's nice and straight there. So that gives us, now I'm going to make it big, fit on screen. All right, there we go. Barbara, right. Let's talk about this. First, why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Where was it painted and kind of what were you after in this picture? You said it's plein air too. That's very impressive.
It is. I went down with my sketchy artist friends to the bank of the Willamette here in Newburgh at our little landing spot and found a tiny little alcove of sand and set up. It took me a long time to get everything in there and just started painting. And I really hadn't had any instructions on water. I'd watched a few episodes of somebody on OPB. And that's how I kind of figured out how to do the the water. But yeah, I was surprised myself. I did that fairly fast in just a few hours. And Fred commented that the rock seems to be kind of stuck out there. And my other friends said the same thing, that maybe I should put some more rocks in there, but I'm not very good at rocks. And I was just happy with the one I got, and I quit there. So, but it was a little bit of a hazy day, a little bit of smoke from fires in the south, not when we had the big fire, but just an ordinary fire. So that
I
was
love
about
those
it.
colors.
Thank you. I did actually do a little bit. I used the red earth for that orangey translucent look there. I really love that color.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's probably
And then
my favorite thing right away is the colors. I always love the earthy reds and the greens together. And
and that's the color of the dirt around here too. You know, we don't have black dirt. We
yeah,
have red
not very
dirt.
often do we? Yeah, a lot of
Well,
clay.
you just made another rock.
I just made a mama
Look at
rock.
that.
Gave
You
it a little
did.
buddy. Gave the rock a little buddy, maybe we want to super good there. Let's watch this. I want to show you guys something really interesting. Let me actually hide this rock and get back to this layer. And I want to show you guys something really interesting about perspective. So I'm going to take this rock and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it 2 times. So I've got 2 new rocks. So I want to show you that, oops, I need one more rock. Now, let me go ahead and just take away the edges so that's not confusing us too much. But when we're dealing with perspective and size, diminishing size as things recede into space, what do you notice about these rocks? Which rock of these 3 appears to be the biggest?
The one in the
The
water.
upper one.
Right?
Upper one.
Right.
One more. And which rock appears to be the smallest?
I'm closest.
Yeah, why is that, do you think? I mean, you guys probably already know this. It's science. I love to do this when I'm in class. I love to do it on a chalkboard with stick figures, because you put 3 stick figures and you put one way at the top of the screen, you know, and draw a horizon line, one up that standing right on the horizon line, one way down tiny, close to us. And even though all 3 stick figures are exactly the same height, the one that's standing back on the horizon line will look like a giant monster coming compared to the other ones. So
Our minds make up and correct for it, don't they?
they really do. Isn't that interesting? Like all of a sudden this looks like it could be, you know, an island back here where kids could climb and jump off of. And this rock right here looks like you might stub your toe, you might just not. And I always find that so interesting that you take the exact same size and combine them or put them, you know, next to each other, and how differently they appear size-wise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I rather like the single rock.
there you go. Back to single rock. So yeah, that can be kind of either or. You could maybe hint at some rocks or some darks underneath a little more that would kind of feed into it, like, you know, like an island out here, but it's kind of related to some like rocks that are under the water a little more. It feels isolated just because there's no like darks or anything kind of leading towards it. But that doesn't bother me too much. I love your colors. Nice job on the water. Yeah, I would have told
Beautiful.
you would have said, and this part over here looks almost dead set photographically realistic right there with the subtle and the different line, you know, types. My thing, just like with the rock that I would do here, is mostly has to do with these trees here. I was stuck on the rock layer, kid. See, I want to go take that to the bottom layer. So I've just copied and made another layer of the tops of those trees. And I'm just going to go to Control T. Make sure we can see it. And all I'm going to do is if I look at the lines of things going back, these are the tops of the trees back there that are the furthest away. This is the top of the trees that are kind of in my mid area. And these are the top of my trees that are closest to me. There's not much difference. So if I take these trees and make them bigger, all of a sudden they come much closer into
Oh, yeah.
space.
Wow.
And what I want to do again is I'm going to look at the bottoms of them. So there,
Wow.
there, and there. So it's only, it's not right or wrong. I mean, there's nothing that says, the trees on the left are shorter trees, the trees on the right are big trees, pine trees, versus deciduous trees or whatever else. But that's just the one thing that I kind of noticed that I would have probably wanted to do. And, maybe this is too much, maybe just a little taller than this line of trees over here. Or maybe I want to really, make it feel like these trees are much closer and, you kind of got to go around them just so I break up the space on the top of the painting a little bit, so it's not all one big open. But that's all just, there's no right or wrong to that, Barbara. That's, just something I kind of thought it might be interesting to experiment with.
I as a kind of quasi new artist, see, I was a nurse and I had to get out of the realistic world, but that was what it looked like to me, was that the trees were about the same level. And so
totally
I didn't realize that I could change it.
Yeah. I wish,
I just never thought about that I could change it.
Yeah, totally. So when I'm out plein air painting, what's, a lot of times you kind of pick out the big thing again, what's important, what's interesting, why are you choosing it? And then you can literally, the neat thing when you're out plein air painting is you can just turn slightly to your right and go, you know what, that little reddish tree that's over there, I wish that was in my scene. What am I looking for here? Wouldn't that be interesting if it had a little reddish tree and made that kind of my focal point? Maybe not that red, but something like that. And you can really take from here, take from there. There's a lot of times where I'm just constantly just saying, what if there was a plum tree? I don't know why there's a red spot here, a building or something. Maybe it's back here, make it more interesting, take us back to the view. But anyways, nice job. That's the neat thing, is we are the kings and queens of our own reality when we're out painting. I very much strongly urge first to edit. What's not helping is hurting. What can you take out? And then, what is the theme? What's the idea? And very rarely, like even the big commission I'm working on right now, I have to keep reminding myself I'm never going to show them the photos that I'm using for my references. They don't need to be like the references. I'm just making a pretty picture for them. And so that, that's all that should matter. So I keep finding myself becoming kind of stuck to my references, but maybe a couple sky holes would make this a little more interesting as well. Just breaking up, you have
I
these
didn't know
nice
about sky holes.
What's that?
I didn't know about sky holes.
Oh, well, you got some nice ones in there, but you maybe just painted around them by luck.
Yeah.
Anyways, wherever you want. Again, if you're kind of wanting to keep your focus, where I generally a lot of times kind of figure is, where's my eye leading, so maybe it's back here. So maybe this tree becomes a little more interesting, just to kind of pay off the viewer for getting back there, right? But anyways, nice job. Let's get back to
thank you.
Everybody seeing Facebook? All right. And Donald, look at all these paintings. Man, you are a busy guy too. Cleaning my studio and found some old casein paints. I haven't used for years. So spent an hour and did 4 quick water studies. Oh, okay. 1 hour, man, nice job.
Well, they're very, very small because those 4 are on a 9x12 sheet.
But nice job. I love doing that in my classes and in general. And there's just, I mean, all of them have kind of a nice poeticness to them. You know, they feel like notes, they feel like little poems. And I always kind of appreciate that. I love looking through people's little sketchbooks. If you ever get a chance to look through Scott Galatly's little gouache and casein sketchbook, definitely jump on it. You know, he's one of the instructors at OSA. And I love looking through them. And yeah, I love how you're just kind of hinting at things. You're not overly describing anything anywhere in here. And it's just, you know, kind of working out some different ideas. Like you said, 15 minutes each kind of a feel. Very nice. I appreciate your doing that, and lots of fun. Tell us a little bit more about what you got going on here. Is this, are you going to build any of these towards anything? Are you wanting any feedback on any of these, or kind of what was your, besides finding old casein and wanting to use it and test it, what was your purpose behind these?
Well, that was it. I wanted to see how the casein worked, and I knew we had a water assignment, so I thought I could do our assignment very quickly with this casein I found. Some of it, like I hate this bottom right one because of the 2 peaks in the front. They just, but I did them so quickly I didn't even notice it till after I sent it.
Yeah. That's great. That's, I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. And like here, I also see a tangent where these top and bottom really want to line up.
Correct.
You know, if you brought this one out a little more, or the inverse, the other one out a little more, that'd be, you know, just a little more interesting. It add a little more movement to it. I actually really like some of these strokes up here and how loose everything is. And yeah, this one's interesting too, right? I mean, it's a great way to work out some ideas and some issues without getting overly, because like you've got the same angle with this cloud as with this hill, right? You're kind of replicating this line.
Yeah.
And it's also both coming from the same side. So part of me would be like, well, what if this cloud was flipped and coming in from the other side to kind of counter that angle instead, or maybe it needs something else to kind of counter angle it. And yeah, but it's fun. This is a great way to kind of quickly work out some ideas, test some things. Glad to see your paints are still working. And yeah.
Well, thank you.
What did you paint them on?
It's just a tablet of watercolor paper. I think it was only, oh, I don't know, maybe it was 90, maybe it was 140 pounds, but you can see where the tape, where I taped it off, kind of pulled the paper up too. So
Can you paint, can you use oils or like acrylic base and then oils on top of it if you let it dry long enough for watercolor paper?
Yes. Yeah, you could gesso the watercolor paper. Yeah, there's quite a few artists who do that. There are oil pads as well now. But yeah, gessoing, you can gesso almost anything and paint oils over it. I don't know what, you know, the full longevity would be, but yeah. And Fred, all right, is this a new one, Fred?
Yeah, that was the last one I did.
Okay, great. I'm gonna kind of speed up a little bit, especially since we've talked to you a couple of times here. Nice job. I really appreciate this because, you know, when you look at this reference, you can really see, boy, there's a lot going on here. Could be very intimidating. I love this kind of scene. It's like my favorite place to spend a nice summer day by a creek with the greenery. And it's nice, you know, with the kind of silhouetted lighting a little bit. It's kind of interesting that some things feel almost face lit, and then these feel almost top backlit. So I'm a little bit confused by this scene. These feel top lit. So I'm guessing that you're painting at about high noon.
Yeah, it was overcast most of the time. And then all of a sudden the sun came out and I go, holy smoke, I got to take a picture of that. And that's what I had just done basically a value study of this thing because it was so, there wasn't any sunlight, and it was just that's what I was doing. And this just happened. I just took the picture of it, and I'm not sure where the sun, but I usually start like at 9 or 10 in the morning, and it probably was right around noon.
Okay,
that
so
happened.
noon oftentimes can be one of the most difficult and flat times of the day to paint, as you guys probably know if you plan or painted, but it actually works out here because of this interesting contrast between the darks and the light shapes, right? You've got this, that's why I was almost thinking this almost feels backlit, rimlit, but it's not. And so that's where what time of day is it? Where is my light source? Always, always, always make that one of your very first questions. You look like you've got it in your painting. Nice job. I was just kind of using this as a reminder to everybody, and then I'm always looking at little hints of what's going on with my lighting. Yes, it's overcast, but obviously the sun or the clouds have opened up. This is, you can have an overcast day with still pretty strong light, but this is not that because of how crisp the edges are between the lights and the darks, means that it's a strong, vibrant light source. So it's almost confusing with the gray sky to have this a little bit. So I would contemplate, if I were doing it, do I want to change my sky a little bit, or maybe present a nice patch of blue sky up there so that my eye kind of goes, oh, now I understand what's going on. I didn't even notice if that's happening in your painting. We'll go back and look. But those are a couple things I'm looking at. Are my shadows crisp? Like the edge quality of the shadows crisp? That means I have got strong direct light. Or if my edge quality of my shadows is soft, then I have a diffused soft light source. And then also looking, at here, it's like the tops of these rocks, the tops of these shrubs are lit. So then know that my light's coming from above. And yeah, anyways, nicely done. A very complicated scene. Yeah, you kind of came in here and blasted away with the light. Nice. Lots of fun, very dramatic. Your edge quality is all fairly sharp. And I kind of think I'm seeing that in quite a bit of your work, which could be, you can say is part of your style a little bit. I'm going to urge you just this week. I don't want to, mess with your style. I don't want to tell you that, you need soft edges by any means, because lots and lots of very successful artists do not use soft edges in their paintings. But for this week's assignment, I would like to see you have a combination of crisp, sharp edges and soft edges. And you're going to get that opportunity, especially if you use my reference with the mist and the different things, the clouds as well. Because even your clouds, their values get much closer, so the edges appear softer, but you still got very angular, sharp things. And again, I'm not putting this painting down or putting down having hard edges in your paintings. Many of my favorite painters do lots of crisp edges, but just so that you're getting that information from this class, today's assignment, Waves and Rocks, is very much going to be about hard and soft edges in the same image to get the different effects. Beautifully done. I would, have contemplated making some things a little more subtle. I think that my focal point is over here. It just feels kind of like the most dramatic, and it's a nice spot for it. But there's definitely a lot of things fighting for my interest. So, after I've finished it, I might contemplate, okay, what if I softened some edges? What if I subdued some of the brights, or, made them slightly different? Then I could really kind of bring my eye, and then it might even feel like the light is kind of breaking through the clouds and almost spotlighting a little bit, making kind of, again, I like to think of my images as having kind of a prima donna, the spotlight on the stage. Who's this painting about? Is she getting her due, or is she going to be upset at the director at the end and never want to work with me again? Nice. Very complicated scene. Proud of you for taking it on. There's a lot of information. I think you did a pretty good job simplifying it. Anything else there you'd like to ask, Fred?
No, no. I was trying to soften the edges, so I appreciate the input about that. I have more work to do.
Yeah. So two different ways I might ask you to soften the edges. One would be like Zorn, not Zorn, Joaquin Sorolla would do, or John Singer Sargent would do, is mixing a third color in between those edges. And I think we talked about that all the way back at Clark College days. Is where two things meet, creating a third color or a third value to go in between those. That's the complicated and the more difficult way. Easy way is simply to clean your brush off and just smush that edge a little bit, or to drag one into the other. You'll see a lot of times when I'm painting my like clouds or sky up against my trees, I will kind of leave a little bit of an area, and then I can either drag my sky into my tree, or my tree, most likely it will be my tree over the sky a little bit. And then by simply dragging it a touch further, or push, or coming back and touching it one more time, I begin to blend. So wherever I want softer edges, it's just a touch of blending. It's funny how much credit I get for my soft edges, and how much, respect, I guess, or whatever, how people notice that in the painting. But it's actually not too difficult once you experiment with it. Great. I know there's a couple more. How many more? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy, we got a lot. What do you guys think we should do? I don't want to lose you by going too long into this. I know critique
Michael,
a certain amount. Yeah.
so just because I'm going to ask if you could look at mine real quick. So I just did a black and white for last night that I will be going over, but the one I wanted to mention was from the last class. But so there's my fixed version, and if you go one more, nope, I think I had them two side by side. That one's the one that I wanted to fix. So go that one there in the upper left hand corner. I was making a little wave in the water area. Yeah. And it ended up looking like a rock. So I thought that could be appropriate. I didn't want that to be there. So then I went ahead and kind of brushed it out to, in my mind, correct it.
Yeah, it is kind of an interesting one, because by having this here, definitely, and all these lines kind of leaning towards it, I definitely go here, right? Like this draws me there, this draws me there, this draws me there, this draws me there, and it's dark versus light. So this becomes the focus with that dark there. But because it's not resolved, and it only leads me to be confused when I get to the kind of payoff, I think you're probably smarter to get rid of it. I think that does feel better. This is a better photo because it doesn't have the glare and stuff, but I do have to say that I think this is more successful.
Anyway, since we're doing rocks, I just kind of wanted to show you how I finally went back to that painting and made it more to my liking.
Yes, and it's lovely. I very much applaud your willingness to go darn near abstract with this. I mean, we know what we're seeing. We know that that's some wet sand, or at least I do, wet sand, sky, horizon with some, hills kind of feeding into the water back there. And that all being said, if you had left these darks, I keep pushing it too many times, sorry. If you had left these darks, I would be left kind of just going, okay, I know what all of this is. I'm not sure. Yes, they're rock-like. They're also a little wave-like, also kind of boat-like. And I know that you want me to look there because everything's pointing me towards it. So yeah, I would be kind of left going, you know what? I'm not sure the payoff is worth, so I'm glad you got rid of it. Or you would have needed to refine it. Did that make sense to everybody there? And do you guys agree with my assessment on that? Feel free to speak up if you think otherwise. All
I
right.
think it is lots of fun to see you paint, and I know that there are lots of other ones to go through, but
Yeah, let's go through. I talked a lot about Laura's last week. Let's talk about about this one here from Catherine, just because Catherine went through quite a bit of effort to get it to me. So I can get it on. But I guess I should ask first, Catherine, here's the image that you sent me.
Okay.
And you said, you know what, it's kind of bleached out and didn't have as much contrast. So I went ahead and just this morning, very simply, added some contrast to it, punched up the color a little bit. Is this a little bit closer to what you're seeing in your painting?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've just gotta find a way to get the pictures so that you can feel it, because I was really pleased with this painting, but in this one, it's just so strident. It doesn't, because I was trying to keep things pretty close in nature as far as the hills and things. I actually painted this gale in 2 days.
Hey.
And this is different for me because I'm one of those people that paint with the little paintbrush. So the hills in the back were closer to what you were doing in some of your demonstrations. And and then the clouds are not picking up the contour and the types of things there, and they're softer than that. But they feel like they're floating in there. And so, and then the right side, when you look through, so I try to put my warm things in the back, in the wind and back here, and then kind of come across and kind of touch over the top of some of the light colors. But and even the rocks, I had the inside here mostly cool in there, but then
Oops,
the color.
I'm losing you a little bit there, Catherine.
Oh, the rocks have a lot more color in them. They're kind of reflecting the light from what's there, and you can't see in this picture the editing of the water down below.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to suggest is we'll talk about this one next week, or feel free to repost it. So what I would have you do is take it and photograph it on an overcast day.
Oh,
that is the
okay.
best photography time we get, and I'm pretty sure since you live in Portland, you're going to see an overcast day in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
pretty much guarantee it. So that's one of the best times. You know, of course, rain and stuff can be a little bit tough, but if you can get out on an overcast gray day, that is your best light. And then you just want to kind of watch for glare and stuff a little bit. But I'll have you try that. And then what you can do too is use the editing software that your phone comes with very quickly. Just push edit, open photo and push edit. And you'll get a couple different options for saturation, color, and different things. And see if you can just kind of side by side get it a little bit closer.
Okay.
And that way we'll be able to give you better feedback. My initial observation is I would wonder if having maybe this rock here, 1 and 2, taken out. I don't think having a wall of rocks in the foreground is fully necessary. I think this would let us in to the scene.
Okay.
Always kind of looking for that. Like, have I built a fence? Have I built a barrier that's unnecessarily stopping? And I'll often do it with grasses in the foreground. And so then I kind of come through with my scythe and clear out the grasses, or here, with my forklift and move these boulders out. And again, we are the masters of this world, right? We can move mountains. So we can definitely move some rocks.
Okay.
But nice. It's got a good feel. Your sky is beautiful. I would also see if your light's coming across. Your angles are pretty nice. So anyways, I look forward to seeing it when you're a little more comfortable with the representation of it. And nicely done.
All right.
Great.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so that leaves Laura. I didn't get to yours, and Michelle didn't get to your other one. And I think that's, and Barbara has another one. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a break and get back to the easel and get painting. Just so you know, in the media section, just like every week, I've added a whole section of just rocks and wave paintings with 17 different examples. of just different ways of approaching it. Some of them are very abstract, some of them are very loose and impressionistic, some of them are very tight. I was happy to run into this painter again. I do not know how to say his name, Ruoli. I adore this guy's work, and I used to see it a lot. Haven't seen it in a while. He's just so great at soft edges, diffused light, and then nice crisp edges. He's for me, just a treat whenever I see his work. So anyways, I wanted to share some of those. Number of different artists. I think this is a Russian guy, almost really photographic. I mean, that sky could be a photo. All the way to just super, super loose and gestural. Like this one. I for some reason didn't capture the name of this artist, but I thought this was kind of fun. Reminds me a little bit, Michelle, almost of kind of some of the effects that you have in your painting that you just showed us. So anyways, there are some examples, not too many. Scott Christiansen, I always love his subtlety and stuff. I just think this is just such a beautiful little quiet painting. And then Jennifer Moses and a couple others. So anyways, at your own leisure, go there. If you want to add any paintings to it, feel free. And let's come back here, and I'm going to stop the video and we'll take a break.